What's up everyone, Tony here, and today we are going to take a look at the latest content update for Red Dead Online. We have yet another new showdown mode to look at, and it's called Plunder. Along with some gameplay footage, I'm going to give my thoughts on the all-new mode, what I like about it, what I don't like, and whether or not it's worth jumping into yourself. But first, I'm finally going to make good on my promise from last video. That's right, at long last, I finally received an invite to the elusive Fishing Challenge free roam event. Believe it or not, I had to play Red Dead Online every day for close to a month straight in order to receive a random invite to this free roam event mode. If you want to hear my rant about free roam events in Red Dead Online, be sure to check out my last video because I go over the entire situation and why it basically sucks really bad. But never mind that, here we are, the Fishing Challenge. Was it worth the wait? The answer is no, not really. And saying that makes me feel physical pain, but it's the truth. But hey, let's actually take a closer look at the game mode itself. As you'd probably expect, the Fishing Challenge takes the free roam event concept and applies it to fishing. Everyone in the server who accepts the invite is warped to a location on the map, where a free-for-all challenge then begins on a set timer. For the Fishing Challenge here, players are asked to catch as many fish as possible in the area the players are warped to, and whoever catches the most weight in fish when the time expires wins. Now, the big positive of this free roam event in particular is that a competitive fishing mode really brings some much needed variety to Red Dead Online. This is a game where the vast majority of missions or modes come down to running around a field and killing other dudes, or stealing a horse and riding it to a place. And that definitely applies to the other free roam events as well, which usually involve shooting the first person you see. But obviously in this case, everyone just fishes on their own. It's certainly refreshing that this challenge doesn't involve any shooting or combat at all. But as cool as the idea seems on paper, it's unfortunately bogged down by pretty bad execution. The gameplay itself is what you'd expect if you've ever fished before in Red Dead Redemption 2. The controls are the same, the lures all work the same way, but obviously there's a key difference. You're now pitted against the rest of the server. This means lots of other people are fishing, and since you're in a confined area, they're fighting over the same fish you are. So, from what I could gather, this is basically what happened with my 10 minutes playing the Fishing Challenge. I threw out my lure the same way I would in single player mode while fishing. Quickly, I noticed nothing was biting, so with that timer ticking, I didn't wait. I changed my lure and tried again, with no success. At that point, I realized that maybe the fish AI was getting confused since there were multiple players throwing out their lures in close vicinity. So I decided to move to a different spot. Now, while this is happening, other players are catching a crap load of fish, and I'm quickly losing any realistic chance of winning this game. As it turns out, running from spot to spot and then the actual process of fishing itself is pretty time consuming. So I found those 10 minutes melted away super quickly before I even knew it. By the time I found a good spot to fish, the game was basically over. Ultimately, it kind of feels like winning in this mode comes down to luck. You need good fish spawns, and you need to somehow attract the fish to your bait over the other players. I also think the fact that this is a free roam event greatly hurts the game mode. I was basically learning and adapting to everything I just said as I played, with an annoying timer ticking down at the same time. I had never done competitive fishing, so it didn't even occur to me that fishing too close to other players might result in the fish not going after my bait, until it was too late. So you know what would have been a great next step for me? Maybe playing the mode again now that I had this knowledge, right? But well, with free roam events, obviously that is not an option. After a legitimately torturous process of waiting for hours and hours, rejecting invite after invite to other free roam events that I wasn't interested in, only to finally receive an invite to the Fishing Challenge, a 10-minute game mode that was over in what felt like the blink of an eye, of course that was gonna feel underwhelming. And since then, I haven't received another invite, and honestly, I don't feel like waiting around for hours again just for one to pop up. To me, the fishing challenge is the absolute textbook proof that Rockstar needs to tweak the free roam event structure as it currently stands. Players should always be able to invite other players on the server to begin one of the 7 free roam events. Give everyone 5 minutes to complete any tasks or missions they're in the middle of, then travel to the correct area on the map to take part of the game. This current system is absolutely broken for a game that is in desperate need of some variety and different, unique game modes. I would love to play the fishing challenge again because I legitimately love fishing in Red Dead Redemption 2, but there isn't a single chance in hell I'm waiting around again for that invite to pop up. There's just no way. So it's a lose-lose for everyone because I'm not having fun, and the perception of this mode continues to be more negative than it has to be, with people complaining about it being boring or stale or repetitive. It really doesn't have to be this way, so I see this as a fundamental problem with Red Dead Online as it stands today. I also think the structure of the actual fishing challenge itself could be fleshed out or tweaked. The standard 10-minute timer for free roam events is okay when you're running around a field and shooting dudes, but considering how long fishing takes, perhaps an increased timer would help this mode in particular. I'd also like to see some other more interesting incentives instead of just catch as many fish as possible in the given time. For example, if the player was asked to catch bluegills in particular, it would challenge players to recognize and remember the shape of the fish, and then only throw out a line if they can see one in the distance when using Eagle Eye. Another possible rule set could involve specific fish types popping up on the screen, asking players to catch them and only them, and then the objective could change after a set amount of time. Like, the player could be asked to catch small fish for 3 minutes, and only catching those small fish will give you points. Then, the wanted fish would change, and players would have to switch up their strategy on the fly. I think rules like that could definitely break up some of the monotony that you'd experience in this mode, which I definitely felt even though I was only able to play the fishing challenge once. Ultimately, if you're not a fan of fishing, I don't think this mode will really change your mind. If you are a fan of fishing, definitely accept the invite if it does pop up, but even still, those 10 minutes felt really short, so I can't say I walked away from this mode feeling satisfied. The potential is absolutely there, but everything is just a bit messy at the moment, so I'm hoping the right changes and tweaks are made as time goes on. Rockstar, you know what to do. Fix those damn free roam events. Alright, now with that out of the way, let's move on to the main event. The very newest mode added to Red Dead Online, it's Plunder, the 9th unique showdown mode currently implemented into RDO. As is the case for many of these showdown modes, you are placed on a team, and from there, it's a mad dash to a key area on the map, where you then pick up a special item. Once that item is in hand, it becomes your team's job to safely secure it and bring it back to your base. At that point, you need to either defend your base, or take the initiative to go after an opponent's base and attack them for their items. Or both of those things at the same time. Obviously, your exact strategy is going to be changing every game depending on the circumstances. Overall, I've had a pretty good time playing Plunder mode. It basically combines elements from 3 other showdown modes that I've had fun with in the past. Defending your base or assaulting your opponents feels a lot like hostile territory. Running to an area to secure an item and bring it back to your base? I mean, that's Spoils of War, Red Dead's version of Capture the Flag. Finally, finding a smart and sneaky way to your opponent's base to inflict massive damage, that's straight out of Up in Smoke. So while I do like the fact that Plunder kind of combines all these different modes, I have to say that from what I've played so far, there is an element of fatigue and repetition kicking in. Even if it's presented in a slightly new package, it really does feel like more of the same after a couple of games, and that's obviously a result of the mode closely resembling a bunch of showdown modes that I've already played before. And honestly, I think that's the polar opposite of what Red Dead Online needs right now. We need to break this cycle of repetitive feeling gameplay, and in that sense, Plunder definitely does not succeed. Rockstar, I am still waiting for that Olympics update that I outlined in my other video. Let's stop messing around and get cycling into Red Dead Online. Come on, that'd be dope. If the many different showdown modes in Red Dead Online haven't already captured your attention, I'm not sure if Plunder is gonna do it for you. Again, the mode isn't really bad at all, but it's just more of the same. I feel like there's only so many different tweaks you can make to the same formula of stealing and defending an item on the map before it just starts to become diminishing returns. And I do think that's kind of the point we've reached here with Showdown mode and the Plunder game type in particular. So, with the release of the Plunder Showdown mode, we are officially all caught up on the content update schedule we first saw back in March. With all of these out of the way, Rockstar is now just rolling out a handful of little things each week, like money and gold bonuses, catalog updates, discounts for in-game stores, and temporarily lifting certain rank requirements. Nothing really groundbreaking or super exciting is going on at the moment. Here in early May, we don't have any concrete release dates for future Red Dead Online content updates. All we know for sure is the big Road Ahead update is on the way, and it will be released before the end of spring 2019, which means June 20th at the latest. I figure since the weekly updates have stopped, all hands are on deck over at Rockstar to pump as much content as possible into that Road Ahead update so that it really delivers and satisfies players once it is finally released. If you want to know everything there is to know about the Road Ahead update, along with some logical speculation on my part, be sure to check out my video on the update that I made a couple of weeks ago. But that is going to do it for today. For Red Dead Online players, we now have to play the waiting game for that Road Ahead update. From what I could tell though, I really think Rockstar is going to deliver with that one. From everything we know, it seems to be addressing all the issues many of us have with the game right now. And all of the concerns when it comes to content, or lack thereof, seems to be getting covered by this update when it finally rolls out. Of course, I will definitely be all over that thing when it's released before the end of spring, and I'll be covering any news Rockstar drops regarding the update as it comes. So if that sounds interesting to you, please hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It is May, which means we are officially in E3 hype train season. New consoles are on the way, and Sony has even officially announced the specs for the upcoming PS5, so this year's E3 may prove to be one of the most pivotal in a long time. Expect some major announcements, some looks at the final big games for the current generation of consoles, and if we're lucky, perhaps even a sneak peek at next gen. In the coming days, I'll be starting my Road to E3 2019 series, covering all the biggest games, stories, and speculation going into the biggest show of the year. In addition to that, I have some other Red Dead Redemption 2 projects in the works, including one that relates to the PS5. Of course, my ongoing first-person HUD-less Red Dead Redemption 2 playthrough with commentary is still ongoing, so be sure to check that out if you're looking for more Red Dead goodness right now. All around, it's definitely a busy time as we head into video game Christmas this June, and there's definitely no shortage of fun stuff going on here at the channel too. So, until next time, thanks so much for watching everyone, and take care.